The discovery. The vast emptiness of space stretched before first observer Talax as he monitored the sensor array aboard the Vexeri patrol vessel Eternal Vigilance. His four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of boredom among his kind. The Vexeri Celestial Dominion had maintained peace across 12 star systems for over 3 centuries. Patrol duty was considered essential, but rarely eventful. First observer, anomalous energy signature detected in Sector 7, announced Second Technician Mira, her voice tinged with confusion. Configuration unknown. Talax's dorsal spines stiffened. Unknown. Impossible. Display readings. The holographic interface hummed to life, showing energy patterns that defied Vexeri classification algorithms. The signature pulsed with rhythmic precision. Artificial, certainly, but unlike anything in their extensive database. Recalibrate and scan again, Talax ordered, his outer eyelids narrowing. Could be sensor degradation. Recalibration complete, Mira replied moments later. Signature confirmed. And, it's moving, sir, accelerating toward the Keldari mining colony. Commander Vox entered the command center, his imposing height forcing him to duck beneath the archway. As the vessel's highest authority and a decorated veteran of the Spiral Nebula conflicts, his presence immediately sharpened the crew's focus. Report, he demanded, settling into the command chair that accommodated his thick, armored exoskeleton. Unknown vessel, sir, Talax explained. No match in our archives. Moving at high velocity without conventional propulsion signatures. No quantum wake, no fusion exhaust. Vox's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Defensive posture. Raise shields. Prepare first contact protocols and dominance displays. The Eternal Vigilance transformed. External illumination highlighted its weapons systems, while the hull's chromatophores shifted to display the Dominion's conquest patterns, a biological feature the Vexeri had weaponized to communicate their military prowess to potential adversaries. Hailing on all frequencies and translation matrices, Communications Officers X announced. No response. The main view screen suddenly flickered, displaying a vessel that violated every principle of Vexeri ship design. Where Vexeri craft were organic and symmetrical, this vessel was angular and seemingly haphazard. Exposed weapon systems protruded from reinforced bulkheads. The hull bore evidence of multiple repairs, suggesting either poor construction or, more concerning, survival of numerous conflicts. Magnification, Vox ordered, his voice hushed. The image zoomed in on what appeared to be identification markings. UNASCTERMO Puwila, A. Energy spike. Mira shouted. There. Before she could finish, the Eternal Vigilance shuddered as invisible forces gripped the ship. The propulsion systems whined in protest before shutting down completely. Gravitational tether of some kind, Talax reported, frantically analyzing the readings. Our engines can't break free without risking structural collapse. Vox rose from his command chair, his exoskeleton plates clicking against each other. All personnel to battle stations. Weapons. Sir, Zex interrupted. They're hailing us. The view screen changed to reveal a creature that sent instinctive shivers through every Vexari present. The being possessed only 2 eyes, set in a flat face with exposed, fragile skin. No natural armor was visible, yet it projected an aura of absolute confidence. This is Captain Malcolm Reynolds of the United Earth Alliance vessel Thermopylae, the alien announced in perfect Vexari, a linguistic impossibility that suggested deeply concerning intelligence-gathering capabilities. Your ship has been immobilized as a precautionary measure. Your weapon systems pose no threat to us, so I recommend against testing them. Vox stepped forward. I am Commander Vox of the Vexeri Celestial Dominion. You have entered sovereign Dominion space without authorization. Release our vessel immediately. The human's face contorted into what Talax's xenobiology training identified as a smile, though among predatory species, such displays often preceded attack. Your sovereign space is news to us, Commander, Reynolds replied. We've been traversing this sector for decades without encountering your kind. Perhaps we should discuss the recent expansion of your dominion. Vox's secondary hearts accelerated. The Caldari system had indeed only been annexed 3 solar cycles ago, a fact this alien shouldn't know. We will dispatch a diplomatic envoy, Vox declared, attempting to regain control of the situation. No need, Reynolds responded. We're already aboard your vessel. The command center doors hissed open, revealing 3 humans in dark uniforms, accompanied by 2 Vexeri security officers who appeared disoriented. The humans carried no visible weapons, yet the security team's incapacitation spoke volumes. Your security personnel will recover shortly, said a female human at the lead of the boarding party. I'm Commander Sophia Chen, First Contact Specialist. We've temporarily disrupted their neural functions, non-invasively, of course. This is an act of war, Vox growled, his body instinctively shifting to combat stance. Chen remained unmoved. If we wanted war, Commander, you wouldn't be having this conversation. We're merely establishing parameters for our discussion. From another doorway, more humans entered, one carrying what appeared to be a simple metal case. We've analyzed your ship's atmospheric composition, gravitational preferences, and biochemistry, Chen continued. We've brought refreshments compatible with your physiology as a gesture of goodwill. The absurdity of the situation, invaders offering refreshments, momentarily stunned the Vexeri command crew. Your vessel's capabilities, Talax found himself asking, scientific curiosity overriding protocol. How do you move without quantum displacement or fusion propulsion? A human male stepped forward. Dr. Elias Wright, Chief Science Officer. We employ something we call gravity folding. Though that's a simplification. Your species seems to have followed the common technological path of quantum physics. We took a different route. Different route, Vox repeated, mandibles clicking in agitation. You infiltrated our vessel without detection, neutralized our security, and claimed to have been in this sector for decades without our knowledge. What exactly are you? Captain Reynolds reappeared on the view screen. We're humans, Commander. We evolved on a planet that would qualify as a death world by most galactic standards. High gravity, extreme climatic variation, aggressive fauna, tectonic instability. We're adaptable by necessity. Why reveal yourselves now? Vox demanded. Your recent expansion concerns us, Reynolds answered bluntly. Particularly your integration of the Caldari. Their distress signals reached one of our listening posts. Talax's exoskeleton chilled. The Dominion Council had assured all commanders that the Caldari submission had been peaceful and welcomed. Perhaps, Chen suggested, her voice diplomatically neutral, your leadership hasn't been entirely forthcoming about certain aspects of Dominion expansion. Fleet signal incoming, Mira suddenly announced. Dominion battle group responding to our automated distress call. 8 vessels, arrival estimated in 20 minutes. Reynolds nodded on screen. And that's our cue to escalate this conversation. Commander Vox, I invite you and 2 officers to visit the Thermopylae. Consider it a gesture of transparency and a chance to understand exactly what your battle group will be facing if diplomacy fails. The gravitational tether released, returning control to the Vexeri vessel, a clear demonstration that the humans could have done so at any time. Choose wisely, Commander, Chen added. This will be the most important decision of your career, and possibly the most consequential first contact in your species' history. Vox's gaze moved from the humans before him to the image of their ship on the view screen. The vessel that had appeared crude and haphazard now seemed more ominous, its irregular design suddenly suggesting not poor engineering, but alien logic optimized for combat. First Observer Talax, you will accompany me, Vox decided, and Chief Medical Officer Salin. The rest of you, maintain alert status and prepare to receive the battle group. As they prepared to board the shuttle, Talax accessed the ship's database, searching for any reference to these humans or Earth. The system returned only one obscure entry, an unconfirmed transmission from a now extinct species that had described encounters with bipedal predators who walk endlessly and never tire. The description sent a primal shiver through his spine plates. The revelation. The human shuttle docked with the Thermopylae through what appeared to be a temporary airlock, specifically configured for Vexeri physiology. Commander Vox led his small delegation into the alien vessel, his exoskeleton plates tight against his body, a defensive posture instinctively adopted in threatening situations. "Welcome aboard," Captain Reynolds greeted them personally, standing in a receiving area that seemed deliberately designed to put visitors at ease. The space featured comfortable illumination calibrated to Vexeri visual preferences and atmospheric composition matching their homeworld. "You've studied us extensively," observed Medical Officer Salin, her specialized sensory appendages sampling the environment. "Yet we've never detected your presence." Reynolds gestured them deeper into the ship. "We prefer observation before introduction. Your species has a rather direct approach to new civilizations." Their path took them through corridors where human crew members continued their duties, barely acknowledging the alien visitors. Telex noted the casual efficiency of their movements, the way they operated in three-dimensional spaces with natural ease. "This section is our hydroponics bay," Reynolds explained as they entered a vast chamber filled with vegetation. "We're largely self-sufficient." Salin approached one of the plants, a vibrant red specimen with pulsating pods. "This is a cataclysm bloom from the Moros system," she exclaimed. "Highly toxic to most life forms." "Why cultivate it?" "Medicinal compounds," answered a human female who approached from between rows of vegetation. "I'm Dr. Lakshmi Patel, chief botanist. When properly processed, those toxic compounds become powerful anti-radiation treatments." "You consume toxins?" Vox asked incredulously. "Many earth plants contain compounds that would be lethal in high doses," Patel explained. "We evolved alongside them, developing methods to process and utilize these chemicals. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. An old human saying." They continued to a section marked Training Facility. Inside, humans moved in what appeared to be combat exercises, but with a fluidity that defied Vexeri understanding of physical limitations. Some combatants ran across walls or performed aerial maneuvers that should have been impossible without technological assistance. "Variable gravity training," Commander Chen explained, joining the tour. "We can manipulate local gravitational fields to prepare our personnel for combat in any environment." A human trainee was thrown across the room, colliding with a wall with bone-crushing force. Tilax winced, expecting to see severe injury or death. Instead, the human merely shook herself, wiped blood from her face, and rejoined the exercise. "Your damage tolerance," Salin noted professionally. "It's remarkable." "Enhanced healing factors," Chen said. "Combination of genetic optimization and nanomedicinal implants. That impact would have broken bones a century ago. Now it's just a training exercise." The tour proceeded to engineering, where the true extent of human technological divergence became apparent. The massive central chamber housed what appeared to be a contained singularity, pulsing with energy that defied Vexeri scientific understanding. "Gravity fold drive," explained Chief Engineer Rajiv Khan, a small human with intricate metal implants visible along his temples. "We don't break the light-speed barrier. We simply reduce the distance between points by folding spacetime." "Impossible," Talax whispered. "The energy requirements alone would exceed conventional fusion or antimatter reactions." Khan finished for him. "Yes, hence this." He gestured to the pulsing core. "We call it controlled quantum fishing, harvesting energy from parallel dimensional membranes." A nearby conduit suddenly ruptured, releasing a stream of plasma that would have vaporized Vexeri flesh. 3 engineers responded instantly, one walking directly through the plasma field, protected by a personal shield that formed automatically around him. "Minor fluctuation," Khan noted casually. "Happens occasionally when discussing the drive with newcomers, almost like it's showing off." You speak as if your technology is sentient, Vox observed. Semi-sentient interface systems, Reynolds clarified. Our technology adapts to user intentions and environmental conditions. Side effect of our neural link design philosophy. The tour culminated on the bridge, a space that reflected the paradoxical nature of human design. Ancient-looking wooden panels adorned walls housing advanced holographic interfaces. Crew members operated stations through direct neural connections, their fingers sometimes moving in empty air as they manipulated invisible control systems. Tactile interfaces for tradition, Reynolds explained, noting Vox's confusion. We find maintaining physical connection helps ground our humanity as our technology advances. Commander, interrupted a human officer, Vexeri battle group has dropped out of FTL. 8 capital ships. Formation suggests offensive positioning. The main view screen displayed the Dominion vessels arranging themselves into the sphere of subjugation, a formation explicitly designed for overwhelming hostile forces before diplomacy. Your reinforcements are being rather direct in their intentions, Reynolds observed dryly. Vox straightened. The Dominion protects its interests. You've demonstrated capabilities that represent a significant threat. Have we threatened you, Commander? Reynolds asked. Or merely challenged your assumptions? Before Vox could respond, the view screen shifted to show Admiral Krex, Supreme Commander of the Vexeri Expeditionary Forces. His massive form dominated the screen, ceremonial battle scars prominently displayed across his primary exoskeleton. Commander Vox, Krex began without preamble. You have been compromised. These creatures have clearly manipulated you into boarding their vessel. Stand down and prepare for extraction. We will neutralize this threat. Reynolds stepped forward. Admiral Krex, I presume. Captain Malcolm Reynolds of the Thermopylae. Your commander is here as our invited guest under diplomatic protection. Silence, creature. Krex snapped. Your single vessel is outmatched. Surrender now, and the Dominion may show mercy. Reynolds sighed and nodded to his tactical officer. Limited demonstration, please. What happened next would forever change the Vexeri understanding of warfare. 4 small objects, barely visible on sensors, deployed from the Thermopylae. Within seconds, the gravity drives of 3 Vexeri battlecruisers simply ceased functioning. 2 more vessels reported complete weapons system failure. The flagship shields collapsed without apparent cause. Those are merely boarding drones, Reynolds explained calmly. They've temporarily disabled your critical systems without causing structural damage or casualties. A courtesy. The bridge fell silent as Admiral Krex's mandibles worked wordlessly. You have 8 vessels, Admiral, Reynolds continued. The Earth Alliance has 17 fleets. This is a scouting vessel. If you force this situation to conflict, you will lose not just this battle, but potentially your entire civilization. Telax moved closer to Vox, his voice low. Commander, the database entry I found. It described a species that hunts by persistence. These humans, they don't fight like conquerors. They fight like apex predators. Vox considered this insight, then stepped forward. Admiral Krex, I recommend immediate diplomatic engagement. These humans have technologies and capabilities that represent either an existential threat or an unprecedented opportunity for the Dominion. You exceed your authority, Commander, Krex growled. With respect, Admiral, Vox replied firmly. I am currently standing in a vessel that has neutralized half your battle group without firing a conventional weapon. My authority comes from being the only Vexeri who has seen what we're truly facing. Reynolds turned to Vox with newfound respect. Your commander demonstrates wisdom. Admiral, we didn't come looking for conflict with the Vexeri Dominion. We came because of the Keldari distress signals. The Keldari integration is none of your concern, Krex insisted, though with noticeably less conviction. Actually, replied Reynolds, we have a policy regarding the forced integration of sapient species. We call it the Protectorate Directive. It states that any civilization has the right to self-determination. He paused, allowing the implication to sink in before continuing. However, we're not here to dictate terms or interfere in Dominion affairs beyond this immediate concern. We propose a mutual non-aggression pact, cultural exchange protocols, and established borders, a reasonable first step toward coexistence. The Admiral's expression remained unreadable, but Telex noted the subtle shift in his posture, from dominance display to assessment mode. "And if we refuse?" Krex asked. "Then we continue this discussion with the next level of your government," Reynolds answered simply, while demonstrating why that would be unnecessary and unfortunate. Hours later, as preliminary agreements were drafted between human and Vexari representatives, Talax found himself in the Thermopila's observation lounge with Dr. Wright. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, they watched the Vexari fleet holding position at a respectful distance. "Your admiral made the wise choice," Wright commented, offering Talax a container of liquid. "This is synthesized to match your biochemistry, similar to your ceremonial reflection draft." Talax accepted cautiously. "How do you know of our reflection drafts?" "As I said, we observe before introducing ourselves." Wright smiled. "We've been studying your transmissions, culture, language, and biology for decades. Yet we never detected you. That was by design. Humanity learned the hard way to be cautious. Our history is filled with first contact scenarios that went poorly." Telex considered this. "You mentioned you evolved on a death world. Is that why humans seem so prepared for conflict?" Wright gazed out at the stars. "Earth shaped us to survive against overwhelming odds. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, even our own nature. Those who survived passed on their resilience. And now you bring that resilience to the stars. We bring more than that, first observer. We bring curiosity, compassion, and a desire to understand. The weapons and shields are just precautions." Telex studied the human scientist. "Your Captain Reynolds said you've been in this sector for decades. How many other species have you contacted, or are still observing?" Wright's expression shifted subtly, confirmation enough for Telex. "The galaxy is more crowded than your Dominion realizes," Wright said finally, "and more dangerous. There are threats beyond your borders that would make this first contact tension seem trivial. Is that a warning? Consider it context for why humanity approaches the universe as we do." Wright raised his glass. "To new beginnings, first observer Telex. Your career just became considerably more interesting." As they stood together watching the stars, Telex contemplated the profound shift in the Vexari worldview that had occurred in a single day. The Dominion had always seen itself as the apex civilization, destined to bring order to the chaos of space. Now they had encountered humans, a species that had evolved in conditions the Vexari would consider uninhabitable, developed along technological paths the Vexari had never considered, and moved through Dominion space undetected for years. The universe had suddenly become much larger, more complex, and infinitely more dangerous, and infinitely more fascinating.